Hey guys, hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So this is Nurul Huda and in this particular video, I'm going to talk about the Omicron variant of SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. Now, ever since from the last few days, WHO has declared this as the variant of concern. A lot of talk is being done on this topic. People are like in a lot of confusion what actually it is and from where it came, what are mutations, how these things are going to affect, what we can expect in the upcoming days, and how this coronavirus is evolving, okay, or basically what is this Omicron variant. So I'm going to take all these things in this particular video, especially since we come from a science background. It becomes very important for us to understand and also to educate others in very layman language. So I'll try to make this video, I'll try to like explain everything in a very simplistic language so that you can understand also and you can explain also to the others even if they do not come from the hardcore science background. Okay, so the topic which we are going to discuss in this video will be like what is mutation, uh, basically how does SARS-CoV-2 works, and then what is Omicron variant, why is it called Omicron variant, why not something else, and what are something to be concerned about in the upcoming days, what are the things which you can take care of, and what are the things which we should be concerned about regarding this variant. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Alright, so what you can see right now on the screen is a typical coronavirus, the cross section of a typical coronavirus. It's an illustration. So what are the important parts that has been labeled over here? You don't have to understand each and everything, just some major parts. Like what is RNA? So RNA is, you can say that it's the most important part of the coronavirus. It contains all the information about the virus and that's where it is. You can say it's the heart of the coronavirus. Okay, so that's there inside it. Okay, it is covered by lipid bilayer membrane. So the lipid bilayer membrane covers it, and remember this lipid bilayer membrane is the only thing which breaks once you wash your hand with the soaps. Okay, so once you sanitize or wash your hands with the soap, this lipid bilayer membrane is going to burst and your COVID is virus is going to just get destroyed. One more important thing over here is the spike protein. Now this spike protein is really very important. These are like tiny keys. Okay, these are just like small key and they are just on all over the surface of your coronavirus, and these spike glycoprotein, or in general called as spike proteins, they are responsible that how this virus is going to lock inside our body, or it is going to connect to the host. Host is us. Okay, so host is the human being or the organism to which this virus is getting connected to. Now this slide is going to explain you that how this virus actually connects to the host. Okay, so host is the human in this case, like we humans are the host. So we have this ACE2 receptors. These are generally present on our like inside our nose, or it is present in the mouth. Okay, so generally it is present over there, and that's from where this virus enters our body. Okay, so what happens that these spike protein, which I just showed you in the previous slide, spike proteins, they act as the key, and this ACE2 receptor act as the lock. So just like a key and lock model, it is going to like connect in the receptor, and slowly the virus is going to enter inside the body. So this particular step in which this spike protein locks itself in our ACE2 receptor, that is the most crucial step, and that steps decides that whether the infection is going to increase or decrease, or whether it is going to get controlled. So now this step only we try to inhibit the virus so that it does not enter our body. We have our antibodies. Okay, so these antibody cells, they come and they understand, or they recognize the spike proteins, and now what they are going to do, instead of this coronavirus to reach these receptors and lock over there, our antibodies, they come and they just bound these spike protein and slowly destroys it and does not allow it to get connected to this receptor. So our immune system is actually working over here. Similarly, like when we take vaccine, so the vaccine boosts our immune system, and that also works in the similar way. It just inhibits or it just protects our this locking, okay, the locking of this coronavirus spike protein to the receptor. So the locking process is inhibited or it is stopped by the immune system, and also it is boosted by the vaccine which we take. Coronavirus does some changes in its structure, that is called mutation in the scientific language. Now mutation means that the structure is going to change a little bit. For example, the spike protein which is looking like this might change a little bit, and that is called mutation. Okay, so mutation can happen on anywhere. It can happen on the spike protein, it can happen on the membrane protein, it can happen on the envelope protein, so it can happen anywhere. But why the mutation on the spike protein is the major concern? Because this is going to change the entire like whatever knowledge we have about it. Okay, so if our body, our immune system has understood the coronavirus and started inhibiting it through sending its immune cells and just stopping this key and lock mechanism, if it mutates, now our immune system won't be able to recognize it. It won't recognize it and it is not going to act over there. So if the immune system is not going to act on this spike protein, now these spike protein are open to interact with the receptors. Now you can just take it as an analogous of it, that let's say earlier the coronavirus was having a key to like for the lock of our body. Now it has enhanced its key. Okay, it has made the key more perfect, okay, through the mutations. So every time virus mutates itself so that it carries out the information or it carries out its process easily. So virus has to interact, and we are trying to like restrict that through our antibodies and through our vaccines and all. So virus will try to like dodge that with itself, okay, with whatever it can do. So the best thing which it can do is mutations. Now generally you will come up with these terms like D614G. What does that means? It means that there is a mutation which has happened from D to G. D, G, these are all different single letters notations for different amino acids. Bio students know that. So all the different amino acids can be represented with some single digits. Like D over here represents aspartate, which is one of the amino acid, and G represent glycine. So in the spike protein or in the protein at 614 position, the aspartate has been replaced with glycine. So a single you can say a single amino acid mutation has happened over here. Now the question is that why virus mutates? As I told you that it is one of the way of for the virus to dodge the immune system or to dodge the immunity which the host develops. So that's one way. Second thing is the environmental factor. There are various environmental factor which is going to make that virus to mutate. Okay, so it can make different mutations in different regions of the world. So you will find out in the upcoming slides that different mutations has been found in different portion of the world. So that means the environmental reasons over there caused that particular variation in that particular virus. One more thing, that this mutation cannot be controlled. You cannot control this mutation. It happens. It's just a usual thing which happens in all the viruses. And one more thing, that whenever a mutation happens, it tries to carry forward whatever whatever was useful for that virus in the previous mutation. So let's say there is a virus A. Okay, this virus has done a single mutation, so it will become some new virus. Okay, it will become some, let's say, virus B, and then let's say B again made some mutations in itself, so it will become some new virus C. So since all these viruses these days which we are studying are the part of coronavirus family, so that's why we call them as the variant of coronavirus. Okay, so here it goes. So WHO has identified the, like, it nomenclates all these variants of coronavirus on the Greek alphabet. So it started from alpha. So we have already seen alpha variant, beta variant, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu. So all these variations have been already seen. Okay, they have been already seen. This variant nu and variant xi has been dodged, or you can say they have been skipped. So they are not going, like, any new variant is not going to be named as new because it will sound like new, new, and xi. Okay, because these two things are not going to be done. The next variant is Omicron, which we are facing these days. So that means the coronavirus, which was the native coronavirus, has already done these many mutations. Now here you can see that there are some dark orange colored, like they have been highlighted over there. Those are variant of concern. So WHO generally like it identifies the viruses as a variant of concern or variant of interest. So variant of concern means there is some change or some mutation in the virus which is making it more deadly, or it's making it more transferable, or it is something to be concerned about. That is called variant of concern. And variant of interest means the changes in the virus has happened so that it can be studied. So when the virus or the variant of virus is studied, that is called variant of interest. And when it is going to impact something, or it is going to impact the human life, then it is called as variant of concern. So Omicron has recently been considered as the variant of concern. All right, so you have to understand that. And you can see on the slide there are the places written that from where they have evolved. Like in India we have seen already Delta variant. So the virus which we faced during the second COVID wave was majorly your Delta variant, and this Delta variant was a dominant variant. Okay, this was a dominant variant. And also we have in India only we have seen this Kappa variant, but this Kappa variant was not that much like it was not that uh, matter of concern. So that's why it was just only kept as variant of interest, not variant of concern. Okay, so these were the two variants which mutated in India. Others you can see that they have been mutated in different part of the world. All right, so we'll talk about this Omicron variant. Okay, so we can see that what and how much variants, or you can say how much mutation has happened. So if the alpha variant has done 11 mutations, so that means 11 amino acids at 11 different places in the virus spike protein. Only this is about the spike protein. Okay, so out of the complete coronavirus we are just talking about this much portion. And why this portion is important, I already told you, because that's the place from where it is going to bind to the host. So if you just talk about the spike protein, so alpha variant has 11 mutations in that, beta has 10 mutations, gamma was having 12 mutations, then delta was having 10 mutations. Whereas if you talk about Omicron variant, it is 32, which was few days back. Like the current rate is that it has around 40 mutations in the spike protein. So roughly around 40 mutations it has. It has so many mutations. And why these mutations are so much of concern? Because I told you that if the key or the spike protein is going to change its shape, our whatever we have as the immune cells, they are not going to recognize it. The more number of mutation, the more difficult it will become for our immune system to recognize it, the more difficult it will become for the vaccines to act on it. Okay, now let's talk about the Omicron spike protein. So this is the three-dimensional structure of Omicron spike protein, and this is the side view, and that's the top view. Wherever you are seeing these yellow dots, these are all the positions of mutation. You can see there are so many mutations in the spike protein, and especially to the place where it binds to the host. Okay, or receptor binding domain. So that particular place has so many of mutations. There are two important mutations which are the matter of concern. The first one is N679K and the other one is P681H. Okay, so these two are the most the matter of the concern, these two mutations. Now I hope you understood what does this mean. Okay, that means the amino acid N has taken K has taken the place of N at position 679. So these two are the most important major of matter of concern. Now here you can see Delta variant and Omicron variant together on the same slide. These are the crystal structures of both of them. Now in the Delta variant you can see that the mutations are there. The ones which are shown in the red dots are the mutations. The number of mutations are there, but they are not that high. But in the Omicron, the number of mutations are so high. You can see there are so many mutations there, and especially on the top portion, especially on the crown portion of this spike protein, we have so many mutations. As it is written, there are around 43 amino acid which has been mutated in the spike protein, and there are 34 residues. Okay, that means greater than 60% of available sequence which is there. Okay, fine. So you can just understand that in Delta variant, where it was just 8 mutations on the spike protein, here we have 43 mutations on the spike protein, and that is the major concern for us. Okay, if I just discuss about the Delta variant, so the Delta variant was the dominant one, okay, which we came across in India. So it was one of the dominant form. it was having high transmissibility. That means it was having high transmissibility. That means it was very fastly transmitting from one place to another, okay, especially in India, which we saw in the second COVID wave. And but the best thing about this Delta variant is the vaccine, the Indian vaccines, Covishield, okay, the Covishield which we have done, and Covaxin. So these vaccine which we have done in India, the major vaccines which have been given to Indians, they work for this Delta variant, okay. So they work for Delta variant. So that's the best thing about the Delta variant, means that's the positive point about this, that we have already developed our vaccines that can work for the Delta variant. Now for the Omicron variant, because we have so many of these like so many mutations over here, so these many mutations first of all are rarely seen, okay, and especially I told you about the two major mutations over here. So these two mutations together are very rarely seen, and they are quite similar to what we saw in the beta variant, okay. So beta variant also shows similar changes, but the beta variant was not that transmissible, okay. It was not that transmissible, means the transmissibility was low. But the second thing which was over here is that it causes repeated infections, okay, it causes repeated infections. And one more thing is that vaccines were not working on it, okay, vaccines were ineffective on beta variant. But since it was not that transmissible, so that was not our matter of concern. But for Omicron variant, that is what people are thinking of, that it might happen that it has combination of the powers of Delta variant also and the powers which is beta variant has. So it might have mutated in a way so that it has high transmissibility also, and it also dodge our immune system. So these two things are making this Omicron virus the matter of concern. So our major concerns are like the transmissibility, whether it is high or low. The second thing is the severity, how much severe this particular virus is going to be. We are talking about the Omicron over here, okay. So we are talking about the Omicron variant. So whether it is going to be highly transmissible, that we can see from the data which we have, because it has been spread out in the South Africa very fastly. So we can say that the transmissibility is high. That is, till now we have understood, we have some idea of that, that yes, transmissibility is high. Severity we don't have much idea about, because that we can only get to know after 14 days, okay. So once the first case which was reported on 28th of November, so after that we have to wait for 14 days to get the actual severity of this particular virus. Whether the vaccines are effective or not, this will also get to know after the 14 days only, we can only say about it. A lot of studies are being done in this, and that will only come up after the 14 days, after the test of different vaccines on it. Although some vaccine manufacturers like Moderna, they have said that yes, their vaccine is effective over this Omicron variant as well. We are also hoping for the best, we are also hoping for the same, that the vaccine should work for this. And the last concern is that whether there is possibility of reinfection, whether a person who has already got coronavirus, who has already suffered from this virus, and his body might have produced some antibody, so whether he is also prone to this Omicron variant or not, whether the Omicron variant is going to be detected by his immune system or not. So that is the last major concern. And what are the possibilities? As I told you, that the transmissibility is high, we have already seen that, okay, transmissibility is high for this. But whether it will be detected by the immune system or not, that also majorly people are telling, or the researchers are telling, that it may not be detected by the immune system because of so many mutations. So that mutation, that changes on the spike protein, is the reason why it may not be detected by the immune system. And regarding vaccine, it is still dicey, it may or may not work. So if it does not work, if the vaccines does not work, so whatever we have done till now, whatever our government, whatever like we as the society, we as the individual, we have done, we have taken vaccine and all, so everything will go in vain. But we are like, me as a science scholar, I am very much hopeful that the vaccines may work on this. And although the mutations are there, but still the vaccine should work on this. So let's wait for some more days. let's wait for some more data to come, and then we will be able to surely say that whether the vaccines are working for this or not. Okay, so that particular part is still dicey. Be hopeful, we all are hopeful for that. So what we can do till now, we have to maintain COVID related protocols. Okay, whatever COVID related protocols we were maintaining, we have to maintain that if you don't want to face the similar situations which we saw in during the second wave of coronavirus. So being someone from the science background, you should take extra care of these things. You should try to make sure that you educate people around you regarding the COVID protocols, regarding getting vaccinated, wearing a mask, maintaining physical distancing, ventilating the indoors, keeping good hygiene, washing hands and other things, and isolate yourself if you develop some symptoms. So these are the reasons, or these are the basic things how we can give our scientists enough time to work on these variants, once again work on this particular Omicron variant. I am very much hopeful that this variant is also going to be although right now it is the major, or it's a variant of concern, but in the coming days it is also going to be seen that it will be detected by the vaccines, or it will be the vaccines will be effective against it. So I'm being very hopeful over here, and let's hope for the best. So that's it from my side for this video. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, have a great day. Bye bye, take care.